Hi, my name is Anders. I'm 19 years old, I'm from Oslo, Norway, and I am the creator of these, the wood headphones. The name comes from the Norwegian expression treskalle, which directly translated means wood head. It is meant to describe someone stupid. It's perfect then, because this is, in a lot of ways, a stupid product. First off, it's the design, which is stupidly simple. Next, it's the choice of material. Making headphones from wood has resulted in a product that's beautiful, elegant, and very unique. But they will break if you try to break them or just don't show the necessary care, even though they are a lot stronger than you'd think. Each pair will be handmade in the middle of the world's most expensive city by a very talented man named Pekka, along with his partners Lars and Jon. This is, of course, stupidly expensive, and I'm pretty stupid for even taking on this project because I've spent a lot of time and money developing these, when in the end I most likely won't make a dime. Even if the project does succeed, I'll still be in the red. Lastly, you're pretty stupid if you decide to buy a pair. For a fraction of the price, you could get a pair of headphones that are 1,000,000 times more practical. It would be the rational thing to do, but that's exactly why you shouldn't. Because making stupid, irrational choices is often what leads to the best things in life. Cliché, but very true. There are some aspects of the wood headphones that are not stupid. To begin with, the audio quality is excellent, and although you'd expect the opposite, they're actually quite comfortable and they'll stay put on your head. But of course, me telling you this is completely worthless, so that's why we're here at where else? Grünerløkka. And we're gonna let you hear it from the people. Dette her er et par hodetelefoner. Jeg har siste 9 måneder på utviklet. Prøver bare å finne noen som kan prøve det litt.
Vadå, är det här hörlurar liksom? Är det sant?
Det här var faktiskt jävligt kul.
James Blake, har du han?
Jeg har Spotify, så da kan jeg bare...
Härlig!
Kan du ta bilder, Nils? Sweet! Wow!
Oj!
Det där går fint det här alltså.
Oj, nu står vi mitt i cykeln.
Ja, la oss sluta med det.
Yes.
Det hade jag faktiskt köpt.
Överraskande god bil. Kan jag spela musik där?
Ja. Kan vi köra Vampire Weekends nya skiva?
Men herregud, det är dritbra lyd. Bättre än kostnadssättet mitt.
Ska jag ta den crazy dansen från musikvideon?
Det är väldigt bra lyd då.
Känns ju lite ovant här med när de inte är så rörliga, men det är bra ljud. Det är bra ljud. Jag är positivt överraskad. Det måste jag säga. Jag var skeptisk. Yeah!
Väldigt nöjd.
Tusen tack.
Ja, det var jättebra. Väldigt kul.
Det är fett led då. Ja, det duger det här.
Det är fett.
Det var väldigt överbevisande.
Vad är det du snackar om?
Lycka till.
Tusen tack. Lycka till med avgiftsbetalningen.
Jo, tack.
Tack. Ha det bra.
Ha det.
Ha det bra.
Ha det.
Making these a reality is a project I've been working very hard on for the last 9 months. I got the idea back in September, and I really wish I had an awesome story to tell about how the idea came to be, what inspired me and so on. But sadly, I don't really remember. All I do remember is that I was sitting at my computer one day making this first not so pretty sketch. I then passed that on to a friend of mine, Tobias, who's a 3D artist, and he came up with this. It was when I first saw this 3D model, I realized this was too good an idea to let die on the drawing board. I then asked my dad, who used to be a furniture carpenter, if he knew anyone who could help me further. He suggested I contacted Carla, a childhood friend of his, part architect, part set designer, part carpenter, part artist, and 100% an awesome guy. Luckily, he really liked the idea and was willing to help out. It was he who came up with the actual construction, which brought the design to life. And it was also he who suggested the 5 different types of wood you get to choose from. He also had some other great input. For example, it was his idea to make the wire detachable. Together, we made the first prototype in his workshop in Grünerløkka. This was the proof of concept I needed. It was beautiful and a lot stronger than I had anticipated. Then it was on to figuring out the sound. I didn't know anything about wires, speakers or anything like that, so gaining the knowledge I needed took quite a bit of research. Along the way, I got help from both professors at the NTNU in Trondheim and Dr. Sigmund Gudvangen, an expert in audio technology at the University of Buskerud. I also got a bit of help from Carle's friend Timon, an artist with 6 years experience of making sound installations. I also stumbled upon a 15-year-old named Edward, who's a genius when it comes to anything sound or hi-fi related. He gave me a lot of answers. When I had finally understood all the different specs and variables and figured out what I was actually looking for, it was on to finding the right manufacturer, which was another thing I had never done before. I ended up sending more than 2,000 emails and spending most of the money I had earned in the past from working as a freelance filmmaker and photographer on samples of speakers, boxes and acoustically transparent foam.
This was once my bed, but then it stopped being my bed and it became a sample storage facility. So now I sleep here.
Then me and Carla went back to the workshop and made the second round of prototypes. I then took those prototypes to the workshop of Carla's equally awesome friend Pekka or Per Christian. Pekka is even more experienced with this type of work and has a workshop that's better facilitated for larger production runs. He also really liked the concept and was kind enough to give me a doable price. So now the wood headphones are finally ready for the world. If the world wants them, that is. Starting off at 2, 5 or 10 euros, you have the option to give a good old donation. If anyone out there would like to give me their money, just because they want to see this project succeed, I would of course be very, very, very grateful. Then at 20 euros, an invitation to the official release party at Tasmania in Oslo, which will go down the first weekend in August. It will be indescribably awesome, but you have to be 18 or older to attend. For 30 euros, you'll get the same speaker set that will be used in the wood headphones, with plugs, wire and everything. As I've said, the audio quality is great and they can be used for whatever you like. For example, I do think they'd make a decent throwing weapon. But this reward is first and foremost targeted at all the creative DIYers out there who can come up with their own unique creations. For 35 euros, you'll get the very special wood head tee, designed by my good and very fashionable friend Jonas and myself. This t-shirt is nothing like the cheap stuff which is often given to backers in crowdfunding campaigns. Owner of Norwegian indie brand Kvardags, Adrian Castrati, really liked my project and was nice enough to let me base the wood head tee of Kvardags basic t-shirt. This is a tee with beautiful design and perfect fit, made from the softest cotton you'll ever experience in your entire life and afterlife. And yes, that is of course real wood. Then for 165 euros, what this is all about, your very own pair of wood headphones. Handmade in what used to be a poor industrial area of Oslo, now culture and nightlife hotspot, and delivered in a stylish wooden box. You can choose from 4 types of wood: ash, oak, cherry or walnut, and your pair will be custom fitted just for you. How this is going to happen, I'll explain at the very end of this movie. These headphones will never be available at a store or anywhere else. This is not only due to the custom fitting, but also the fact that making just a few pairs at a time would result in ludicrous prices. Therefore, crowdfunding is the only option. If you want to give your already very exclusive product an even more exclusive touch, you can upgrade to a different type of wood called venge, which is native to Central Africa. Lastly, for 1,000 euros, you could own the very first pair of wood headphones from the official production run. Each box will be dated, signed and numbered, and you could be the owner of number 1, if you're an oil sheik, that is.
As you can see, getting these into production and making my dream a reality will require a lot of funding. It's a long shot, but I'm hoping everyone who watches this would like to help out by telling the world about the Wood headphones, or perhaps even making a donation or a pre-order. Thank you ever so much. I truly mean that.
Obviously, it's an absolute necessity that the Wood headphones fit just right. These here are made for me, and as you can tell. But what about you? That was something that had me stressed out for a long time. Obviously, if you're not sure they're even going to fit on your head, you're never going to buy a €165 pair of headphones. Now, a mate came up with this solution that's actually quite genius. What we're going to do is, once funding ends, I'm going to send everyone who's bought a pair these. What these are basically cardboard rulers that allow you to measure the width and height of your head. I'll show you how it works. Let's begin with the height. What you do is cut out this section here. When that's done, you're left with this. As you can see, clean 90-degree angle, and you can now measure the height of your head down to the bottom of your ear, which just happens to be what you want the bottom of your headphones to line up with. Now, it's important to measure on your ear, not in front of it or behind it. And I recommend getting help from a friend to get this precise, because you want it to be precise. If you get a result that's less than 15 centimeters or above 18 centimeters, then you might want to check again, because that's the standard for adults. Next up, it's figuring out the width. This time, we do not want to include the ears. You want to measure here right in front of your ears, but don't include them into your measurement. Do not measure here by the eyes or behind your ears, but right here where the skull is at its thickest. The way this works is you cut out a section of this ruler. Now, obviously, you want to start out with something you know to be too small, because you don't want to overdo it. So start out with something you're pretty sure is going to be too small, and then work your way up until you can find your width. Now me, I obviously know my width already, but just so that you can see how it's done, I'm going to start out at 14 centimeters, which is pretty small. Now, as you can see, I can get it on, but not without bending it, so I need to keep going. Okay, so this is 15, my width, and as you can see, slides on, no need to bend, just sits perfectly. And as you can see, right in front of the ears, but not on them. Lastly, the easiest one is measuring, let's call it the depth of the ear, the distance from your skull out to sort of the tip of the ear. What you want to do, unless you have one of these, is grab any straight object, for example a nail file,
Then mark the distance using your finger of choice.
and then just read that off with a ruler or with one of these. Once we have those three measurements, I guarantee you'll be amazed not only by how well your Wood headphones will fit you, but how comfortable they are as well.